the bud project in a monochrome in one color marker. So I said you can use felt tip or plastic tip for that. And you're probably fine with felt tip for the colored project, the lemons. So I'm just going to take you a bit to screen share, and you're going to get a little bit of art history, if you don't already know it, about pointillism. So here, if I get you over into the screen share, and here we go. Okay, let's start with Mona. We all know her. What happened, the pointillism is the direct creation of an artist who was working in the 1880s. His name was Georges Seurat. He was originally part of the Impressionist theories, and he's listed with Van Gogh and Gauguin and Cézanne as a post-Impressionist artist. That is, they benefited from Impressionistic discoveries. But prior to him coming along, Impressionism, which was right around the 1880s as well, the whole philosophy was they did not like the dark, murky colors of classical and old-style painting. If you look at any old-style painting, and I can take you from Mona here, and unfortunately Mona's cracking a lot because of Leonardo's experiments, bad experiments with oil, but if you go from Mona to even Rembrandt, a little later, a little more in the Baroque period, 1600s, you're going to see a preoccupation with very dark, muddy colors. Now, the Impressionists wanted to take nature and all that explosive color and work that way and take painting out of the studio into the light so they could really feel the color and the light. They're not going to get it. They did realize that these paintings were dark because colors were mixed so heavily. So what they did is they combined with scientists, and there was particularly a scientist called Chevreul. And at the time, he discovered a theory of optical mixing, and that became the premise of Impressionism. Optical mixing means that two colors can be side by side, and your eye, not close up, but from a distance, you can actually see the combination of the two colors without them being mixed. Now, if colors come out of the tube, well, in most cases, they weren't in tubes, but if colors come out of however they bound and grind them, they're going to be much brighter. They're coming directly out of the earth. So what you get is a much more bright, scintillating effect. But when you look at the bridge by Monet, done at Giverny, where he lived, it's combinations of yellow and blue put together, layered and layered. And the greens you're seeing are really a product more of that optical mixing, our eyes mixing the colors from a distance. Now, the distance part's important because if you ever go to a gallery in France, the Jeu de Paume, you're going to see, if you walk up to these things, they don't make any sense because our eyes can't take all the vibration. If you walk away, you will get a picture. Now, that's the whole theory that Impressionism was based on. And what happened is Georges Seurat did them one better. He said, I'm going to take the slashes of brushstrokes that Monet uses, and I'm going to turn them into tiny, tiny little dots. Now, unfortunately for you, you can't see the color mixing here. It looks like the grass is yellow-green, but it is a combination of yellow and green layered together. And that's what's giving you your colors. Obviously, Le Grand Jatte, his most famous painting, which actually is the size of a giant wall. That's why he only did 5 of them his whole life. Obviously, this was before social distancing. We can't relate to this right now, but that's his style. I also wanted to show you, I love this one called Le Chahut, and it's can-can dancers. And again, just this beautiful, beautiful, sorry, I can't make that bigger. It's a beautiful scintillation. Dots create a very, very smooth vibration and make the work really exciting and dynamic. But all these colors in there are yellows, oranges to make the reds. There's blues with reds to make the violets. That's George Seurat. And what happened, his legacy is incredible. What he's actually doing all the time, and this is totally, if you can see this, you put yourself back from it, you can see it. When his yellow dots and his blue dots are combining, you get this green effect from a distance. And it creates a very bright painting, but it also creates a painting that has color mixtures. They're just not mixed together. They're beside each other. Now, what happens is illustrators, commercial illustrators who work in pen, loved the look of pointillism. And they renamed it stippling, and you're going to see it ever after, used an awful lot in commercial art. Here, pointillism is used in portraits, and I've showed you close-ups of them on the skin. They've also used other styles, but you can see the pointillism. What it gives you is this incredibly smooth, velvety texture. That's what's different about when they use stippling and they're using fine pens, and I can show you size-wise what you're actually seeing, because this person was a sucker for punishment, the whole background. But do you see the dots there and how much intensive work is on it? But it gives a velvety texture that you can't get anywhere else. I think my grade 12s for their portfolios had to do buildings and then do designs around it. And I kept on saying all the time, guys, don't be hard on yourself. You can do cross-hatching. You don't have to do pointillism, which takes more time. But they all ended up doing pointillism with small pens, by the way, with 01 pens, and that you can see how those little dots create incredible volume. I'd say more than any other pen technique I've ever used. So now I'm going to show you how we're going to do it. A tonal scale, I'll explain it and then I'll show it here. Hello. Okay, there's mushrooms, and mushrooms are, because they're soft and velvety, of all your ink techniques, mushrooms are a real obvious, do it in pointillism. But here's your tonal scale, guys, that you're going to need to get shading. So what happens in pen or in color, all pen techniques are based on layering. So what that means, I don't want you to think that he does loose dots to here, then he does medium dots, then more medium. It's a layer technique. So when you start, this area here goes from front to the end. Then the artist steps in to create a new tone, and he layers on a second tone to the end, and then a third tone to the end, and then here's more concentration, and here's the most concentration. And I showed you, I know it's small there, so I brought you up here. I'll just stop the share for a second, and I'll show you, yeah, and so you can see this better. I just want to show you if I can tip it. Can you see it in the light? Okay, so just to make it more obvious, I used a big marker. So I think you can see, I took this light tone all the way over to the end, and then right about here, I started concentrating the dots. So I did a second layer. That was my tone 2. Then right about here, I did a third layer, and then a fourth layer, and then my 5th layer started a little later. I got lazy. I don't think I started it till the end here. And when you get at this stage that you're so dark, you could actually scribble, and it looks the same as pointillism. So I did a little scribbling. So that's the tonal scale you're going to use. So here's what I want you to do first, because I want you to have a chance to do both projects. What I did, I know I sent you a bud drawing, and it's done in cross-hatching. I don't want you to do it in cross-hatching, but I want you to use it as a source, and it gave you the shading. Really, you can see where it goes dark and light. I want you to draw a small bud, or if you've done this already and you have the whole thing done, that's fine. But you probably, this will take you literally about 20 minutes, even if you have the drawing. So you don't have to do the whole thing. You can go back and do it later. So I took a very small bud. I drew it. I checked, my negative, my plumb lines. You know me, I'm always plumb lines and my negative spaces. And I got this shape. And then what I did is just mark the highlights so I can leave them bare. I'm going to leave them as white paper. First of all, it saves time. Okay. So I marked my highlights and there was a highlight here, left that part bare. And then what I want you to do is put a medium tone over the whole thing, except for the parts that you left as highlight. So medium tone goes everywhere else. And then as the form, because it's a rounded form, it's going to darken as it turns away, darken as it turns away. As it does that, you're going to step back and layer in another tone that's darker. Then you're going to step back and layer on another tone. When you're right on the edge, some people say, can I use an outline? Yeah, because it usually blends in. So if you're having trouble getting definition, you can definitely, I ran my pen back and forth, but I was so dark at this point, it blended in. Now, this was a little lighter than this form, so you can make your different parts of, like the wood doesn't have to be as dark as this. But again, process is to mark your highlights, leave them bare, just mark them lightly with a pencil, then cover everything else with a mid-tone, and then as the form rounds back and rounds on the end and rounds in towards the stem, darken. You can even make these lines, these contour lines, a little darker. You can run your pen back and forth. You don't have to do them in dots, but that's the next thing you're going to do. So, and I'm going to have a chance to pin you, come in and see how you're doing. So start right now. I don't know if any of you started the drawing. If you haven't, just do a little area very lightly with, you don't draw with a pen. You always draw with a pencil. Okay, so draw, and then you're going to try that technique. Mark the highlights, then leave it bare. For those of you, make sure you all got, this is what you're working on. Not this, but I sent this. So the bud is got all the shading in there. This artist just used cross-hatching. You're going to interpret it in pointillism instead. But you can see the highlights on the bud I did. There was one there, one there. There was a highlight on the stem. I left those areas bare, and then I covered everything else with what you'll see is that soft gray. Okay, and then I built it up darker and darker as I saw the shade. So you're just going to layer more dots. All right, and you all got that. So you didn't get it, Barbara?
No. What? Nope.
Okay. Did anyone get it? Yeah. Okay. Barb.
I did, and I don't know.
Yeah, you definitely got it. Oh, beautiful, Paula. So Barb, just draw a finger. It's an easy thing to draw. Draw a finger. It's where part of it's going to be in the light.
I just drew it. I'm okay. Yeah.
You drew it from that fast thing? Oh my goodness. That's instantaneous. Okay, do you want me to hold it up again? Okay. All right. Here I can just one more time I can give it to you because everybody else is going to be starting, but you could do anything, but all you're going to do is mark off the highlights. The highlights are always going to be where the light's coming down, and this form is going to pop right about the center. Everything going up, down, side, and side is going to get darker. So you're just going to keep on layering in dots as it gets darker and darker and darker. You could do the other bud too. I just got it for you because I thought it was easy to interpret. You know what you should do, Barb? Just take a phone picture of this right now. That's a good idea. I rarely come up with one, but I just thought of it. Yeah, that's okay. Now, do you see all our faces or you can see just the picture? Oh, perfect. Perfect. And now you have a source to work with. Good. Okay. So yeah, you're not going to, because we're trying 2 projects. The second project is going to take longer. We're going to do the lemon later on. And I just did part of that. Oh, Barb, you don't have a lemon? Oh, I'm back to screen share. Hold everything here. There. Okay, I'll take this one off and Barb here. Good? You're welcome. Okay, now, yeah, that's good. So what you're going to do now is just start doing the dots. Now, I used to have a class of kids that really needed walkabouts all the time because they were just very, very anxious. And this was the most wonderful therapy. So tonight, if you're in bed and you've got a pen and you're watching TV, it's a very perfect multitasking assignment in that you can do it and still do other things. Now, some people don't like, okay, the real theorists say that when you do pointillism, your pen's perpendicular to the paper, so you get just precise dots. I've seen people who love going like this, just dabbing, and it gives you more of a, I guess, more of an impressionistic slash, but it still works. So you're doing this all with your black pen, and you've marked your highlights, and Paula, you've already got a drawing, so if you don't mind, I'll just come in and pin you and see. Oh, perfect. Okay, so your drawing's already done. So now any area of that, what are you using as a pen, Paul? Okay. Oh, you've got a pencil. But do you have a pen to do this in, the dots? A marker?
Oh, I could have some felt pens.
Perfect. Okay, on that felt pen, is there a thinner side and a thicker side?
Yeah, I have a package of this I bought just
Perfect. So you've got a very thin plastic. If you use the thin plastic, you're going to get this look of dots, okay? If you use the felt, you're going to get that look of dots. So whatever one, obviously the bigger dots are faster. The little dots people think are prettier and softer. It's totally up to you because you don't have to finish in this class. I'm just starting you off on 2 projects. So go with what you think.
Continue.
Okay, all right, super. And I'm just going to check down who else. Does anybody need help or have a question or want to show me you just starting? Nobody? Okay. Oh boy, it's really good therapy. As long as you're not asleep there.
I have a question. What size did you say for felts or pens or whatever?
Well, felts don't come in sizes. They come pointed or blunt or chisel. Okay. So your pointed one is going to be the only one that you could do pointillism with. So that would be, is it Christina? I'm just looking who's talking.
Sorry, Noreen.
Oh, okay. Now I can see. Okay. Here's your felt. And that's a fairly thick felt, but you have to use a pointed one. It'll give you a thicker result. I have also plastic tips. So plastic tips are much finer.
Okay. What size is that? Is that a felt or is that one of those pens?
No, this is one of those pens. This is a technical pen. So it's for anybody who's doing illustration or pen techniques. This is on, believe it or not, this is on the thick side. This is an 08.
Because I have 0.5. That's what I have. So
0.5? Yeah. Okay, it's going to be a little thinner than this. So if your drawing is fairly small, use it because you'll love it.
Okay.
You won't get finished though. Like, don't get frustrated if you don't get finished. It wasn't planned the way I timed it. I didn't plan, even I didn't get done.
Okay.
Kathy, do you want us to do it in increments like you did, like first all light and then get darker?
Absolutely. All pen techniques are based on layering. So you always do your lightest tone over the whole thing. Now it's a question of whether if you have a lot of highlights, like let's say you were doing my glasses, okay, and they've got highlights right now sparkling in them, I'd want to pick those up. So I cover everything else with my loosest tone, leave the highlight straight paper, then I'd start darkening where it got darker. But it's always a layering technique, and that's why I showed you this. When I started this last night, it looked exactly like this part all the way through.
Can you have a look at mine? I think I'm not sure. I don't know how you do that. Do you want me just to hold it up?
Yeah, Maria, just let me pin it now. I'm going to come. It's okay. Oh, it looks really, really good. Now you've got dark pencil on it now, eh?
Yes, but I
Just,
have also my felt pen fine nib.
oh, and that's not even fine. That's like a medium. Trust me, they get really fine.
Oh,
Some of them
okay.
look like it injectable, but that's beautiful. But what you want to do is use the process I told you. You
Yes.
start, okay, if you can see this, you start putting the loosest tone of dots over everything except the highlights. So your highlights were right in this area, okay? So leave them bare and do loose dots everywhere else. Loose dots as in loose, like
Loose.
loosely
That's
spaced.
not next to each other.
Yes, yes. And then, Maria, the only thing you're going to have to do is, because you've got beautiful shading already in a pencil, you're probably going to have to soften that with an eraser so that the dots show up.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So, yeah, okay, and you're fine. And anyone else that I'll go to gallery view, and anyone else want to show me anything? If you put it up, I'll see. Okay, I'm at Chris. I got it, Chris. I'm right in, and I'm replacing your pin. Looks beautiful. Okay, now just hold it up a little bit more, Chris. Okay, so your light tone is everywhere. Now just darken. What you're going to do is put your light tone over the whole thing. I know you
just did the top part of it.
Oh, okay. So the light now, what you want to do, Chris, is darken. If you look at the example I showed you in the picture, it's going to darken as it goes towards the stem. It's going to darken as it goes towards the tip, because the only part that's way out there is the center. So that's going to stay the loose dots. And then you're going to keep on just keep on adding layers of dots as it goes, like to round it out. So same as here, Chris. Same as if I get gallery view, if I can show you and you can see me. So that was light dots over everything except that little spot and that little spot, which in the picture looked light. Then everything else I covered with the light dots. So at the beginning it looked all light. Then I kept on, as I went backwards, kept on doing darker layers. And it'll work. You seem fine. Yeah.
When you do the light dots, are they the biggest dots then, and then you make the dots smaller and darker?
No, the dots don't change size. You use one marker for this whole project.
Okay, thank you. That's what I wasn't too sure.
Yeah, and Fran, that looks great. It looks like you jumped from about a tone, like on a value scale, you jumped from the mid-tone right to the darkest. So here's what I want you to do. Where you've gotten really dark, start loosening out the dots towards the center a bit so you can create a mid-tone that's lighter than the dark tone. And it seems great. So if Anne shows you that, if you can see Anne's, that's exactly what it looks like at the beginning. She's jumped to the dark a little bit fast. So Anne, now start doing like softer layers going back. Jen, you've got it. It seems really good. You can get more layers of dark now. Pick up more layers of dark, like on the edges. You can even, if you want to, Jen, it'll give you a little bit of push. What you can even do is take this, like I said, I do this all the time, and I'm saying it's taking so long. So I do once I've got the dark, I do an outline, and then that gives me something to gauge, like gauge it even darker. So you can do an outline for sure. I know it's hard to tell, but there was definitely on the very edge, I used a pen outline. But try to create about 3 layers going back. Here, I think I need more. There's not enough pushing back. So I would put more into mine, take more time and build it up. So do I get psychiatry fees yet for this therapy? Do you feel better about yourself?
You're doing great.
Oh, thanks. It is very therapeutic, though. And don't rush to finish it, because you don't have to. I want you to try it and see. Sheila, it looks, sorry, I'm going to come in with a pin, Sheila, just closer, because you're very delicate. So, oh no, it looks fine for your light. Now, the only thing, Sheila, is this. See on the bottom, can you look at me right here? See there, there's a lot of dark here. You're making a dark line, then going white again. But that whole part is rounding back. So more dark there, and you're fine. Yeah, it's good. Guys, you weren't supposed to master this quite so fast. I didn't expect you to how come I spend an hour doing the sample, and you guys you must have like your pens are big or something, because you've really got it done fast.
I don't know.
Oh, that's Carol. It's coming out beautifully. I think, Carol, I'm going to say darker on another tone on the bottom. You know, where it turns under, I'd say darker here. Because it's really turning back, whatever that is, what it is, the butt of whatever looks like a fig. I don't know what it is.
I thought it was one of those Chinese lanterns, maybe.
Oh, maybe it is. Maybe it is. Now, it doesn't, when you're doing 2 different items, that's what I was trying to, you don't have to do the same tone for both. So, for example, if you were doing my face, your light tone for my face might be looser than your light tone for my hair is going to be much more concentrated to start off with. So your light tone can change from the stem to the bud if you wanted to. It doesn't have to be all the same tone. In life, nothing's the same tone. And anyone else, I don't know if anyone has questions, but I can look and see.
A friend of
Carol?
mine bought a pen that does this. Like it's battery operated, and the pen does this.
Really?
Yeah.
I was going to tell you about the best deal for me. It's Pentel at Staples makes an erasable pen. Oh my God, it's so much fun, because whatever dot, like if they're too concentrated in one spot, you just erase them. But I've got to look that up. I'm going to go into Sarah's website. That would be fantastic.
I know she got it on Amazon, but Sarah's probably would have that.
No, seriously, I used to have boys that if you gave them any other project, these guys, they get angry, they get anxious. Honestly, you give them Pointillism, you don't hear anything. It's like this quiet Zen kind of thing. But you guys are all doing it right. This bud, sorry it was a fuzzy picture, but I was just looking for something with shading, so you wouldn't have to try to find the shading, because I don't know how good. So this way you're just kind of following the tones in the picture. Now that illustrator's using a technique called cross-hatching. It doesn't blend as smoothly. I wouldn't do it for something like this. I think Pointillism works better.
I I made a mistake. Can you
A
hear me?
mistake?
I made
Okay.
a mistake and I put some up on the top. There's no way that I could get rid of that, is there?
Okay, you don't get rid of it. They always say in pen, mistakes are just made darker. So
Uh-huh.
what that means is if you've made a mistake, no, you can't get back lighter, but you can dissolve the mistake into a shadow and then just disperse it out again.
All right.
Yeah. And that's what you usually do all the time. I keep on checking. I'm checking back and forth to see if anybody wants to show me anything, but you guys seem really okay. And I'm definitely watching the time.
What
Could
time
we
is
see
it?
the
Minute?
photo again?
Yeah. Oh, you don't have, you didn't bring it up. Here,
I
I
can't.
will.
I don't have the technology for that. I don't know how to do
Oh,
that.
then can you take a picture though for
I don't know.
tonight? Here, just a sec. I'll get you the photo. If you can
But-
take a picture of my screen, that would help you later on. Now, if you have guys, if you have,
I don't have the I don't have a
oh,
cell phone. I don't
okay,
have
that's,
anything.
yeah, then it's hard to do. So there's
Hold on.
the thing.
Keep it up for a second.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe Anna can send it to you.
Well, it's just I don't have a way to look at
Oh,
it.
yeah, to look at
So
it. Yeah.
if you have it up, then we can look at it.
Okay, that's fine.
If
That works
for you.
No, it works for me. I just, then somebody, if you need help, you just have, just yell because I can't see all the screens if I've got it up. So if anybody like needs any help, just.
I'm a helper.
Okay, just a sec. Anne's okay. If I go this way, I can check if anybody else. Fran, you're okay. Patricia, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fran, beautiful, 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 beautiful. You're rushing for your darks. So I'm going to say the same thing. Now loosen up your darks so you get more of it's gorgeous, but you've defined it in more light and dark. So what happens is you get a strip effect, like there's a stripe on it. What you want to do, you see, Fran, look at me for a sec. See, somebody always told me when I first did pointillism, they said, Kathy, you can't see on the screen share.
No.
Okay, I'm just going to show you for a second.
Thank you.
But somebody always used to say to me, when I did pointillism, I did it like organized, like I did it in rows. And they said, that's a bad thing for blending. So they always told me when I'm adding a second layer, make it back and forth and you'll get it to blend better, rather than going straight down. Even this one still needs some more back and forth because I can see a line. So all I want you to do, kiddo, is take the black line and blend it out a bit more, and that will give you a mid-tone. Because if you have a definite stripe, kiddo, what you're going to end up with is it's going to look like a painted stripe. And I'll just go back to the screen share for 1 second, and you can see that. You guys are so ahead of me. Some of you not only did the drawing, but you did shading on it in pencil. So, and I'll just look to see if anybody else needs help. I'm just going to go down, and if anybody's wants me to, okay, I just saw, sorry, I missed 2 of them. Okay, the first one's Monica. All right. So here, I'm just going to stop the share for a second. Monica, where are you? There you are. Okay. Oh, it looks, Monica, I think it's really nice. Now, the only thing you have to do, you did your highlights beautifully, but you kind of did an outline around them. So try to diffuse. Do you see how you've got 3 tiered up dots, like the highlights are, so just diffuse the dots, just a few dots here and there, and it'll make those outlines go away. And other than that, you're very delicate. So you two are opposite the last. So what I want you to do is more dark tones, more of this tone. Where am I? More of these tones. You've got lots of this. Okay? It's just a matter of how delicate you see or how fast you are. Some people see the darks really fast, so they want to go with the darks. That's why the layered effect really helps you build up volume. But very, very good. These guys, you're not really having, oh, Maria, lovely.
Is that too dark though?
Not too dark because you can always get darker. So you see the dark area at the bottom,
Yes.
okay? In that area, you're staying in one tone, which means I'm not seeing rounding back. So what I want you to do is create another tone between the edge and the tone you have there. So you're actually going to get darker. So here, if you look at me, am I here somewhere? Oh, sorry. If you look at me, okay, you've got this all the same tone.
Right.
So what I want you to do is build up yet another tone between there to round it. Remember, tones equal pushback. So the artist's interpretation of what they see, they can use a drawing, but you're still a flat pancake. The only way you can get the interpretation of rounding, the form itself, is by changing tones. So we're always struggling because we have very weak eyes. It's very hard for us to see the hundreds of tones that create this form. So what we do is we make it up if we can. We say light, then I'm going to get darker, then I'm going to get darkest on the edge. We just make it up, and that will give the viewer interpretation of rounding.
How would I fix it now? How would I fix it?
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, listen again. Where you've got,
I would go underneath it here.
yeah, where you've got that last tone, just now layer another tone.
Another tone.
Yeah, another tone towards the edge.
Okay.
So you're getting darker, Maria. Yeah, Meta, beautiful. Oh, guys, you're all pointillist. Let's see. That's beautiful. Hold it up again, Meta, because you've got rays of sunlight coming in. So I'm just trying to see no, it's okay. I can see if it, oh, you've got a gorgeous pointillist style. You know what I'd do? I'd make the contour lines, Meta. So these things. So look here. See that? Look at me. And you see these contour, they're like pumpkin lines. So they kind of curve a bit. I'd actually draw those lines to give it definition. They are in the picture, Meta, but it may be hard to see because the artist is doing hatching. But can you see those kind of pumpkin lines? Yeah, and go really dark, guys. When you get to the top here, hello, you can like really hit it in. Like if you go up to in here, that's dark. It's turning completely away from the light. The light's hitting right here in the middle. So everything darkens as it turns away from that one spot. And I think what we're going to do, I wanted to keep it about 45 minutes. So let's take 5 more minutes. If anybody wants to ask any questions or what do I need further, that's it, Fran. So you see what happens is you created more tones. It doesn't look stripy anymore. It's starting to look like rounding. What you've got to do with pointillism, remember I said in a gallery, if you see any of Monet's paintings, anything, Renoir, when you're close, you can't tell. So I want you to take your work and just put it a bit at a distance from you and squint. And what you want to avoid is you don't want tones that are straight lines. You want to blend the tones in so it happens smoothly. The only way you're going to see that is putting it away. The other way you're going to do it if you have a mirror, okay? Take your work and put it against a mirror and you'll see right away if the tones aren't blending well enough. It's a great idea for artists. And we're going to, so can you believe I'm giving you homework? Not that therapeutic. No, actually you got done much. Oh my gosh, guys, these are all beautiful. Yeah, really, really nice. Carol, you've got the pop, you've got a medium tone, you've got a darker tone, and I believe your tones are all blending. Jen, you got it totally. I just say a little bit more medium tone as the highlight in the center turns down towards the bottom. And Christina, great. Patricia, these are great. Now, did it aggravate you?
No.
It's nice to do. And Chris, lovely. Really, really love you. Made that, yeah, much better. Hold it a little bit more. I'm looking at one. Now I want, okay, more shadow on the bottom and the sides and the top. So stay with that one a bit more. Sheila, I think you got it. The ring around the stem, blend out. So what I'm saying is, oh, I'm on the next one. Just a sec. Sorry, Sheila, can you see me? Okay. The ring around here, I'm telling you to blend out, and I'm looking at mine and it's not blended. Okay, I have to go back. Blend out. Now that you've established these dark lines, just blend in a few more dots there and there and there. See, I should have looked at mine from a distance. Okay, guys, I want you to leave it. I don't want you to leave it forever. I think you'll love it. The more you do pointillism, the more you'll see. It's just the most beautiful. It's the only technique in pen that describes something like velvet or a fuzzy peach. It's just such a soft, beautiful technique. So I'm going to take you to screen share and show you the colored project. Okay, and your source for that was the lemons. So if anybody didn't get lemons, just ask Iona. Iona maybe can send them to you if you don't have it. Okay, what we're going to do, I'm going to show you what it looks like to do in color. Okay, so this is basically a pen illustration technique. But, okay, this little guy is going to have to really zoom in. What happens when you use color with pointillism? And you'll notice that he used big dots. This is from a Seurat, right out of a Seurat painting. I think he was in the Grand Chat. But you've got two ways of shading. When you're working monochrome like you just did, all your shading is by layering back more tones. You keep on layering more tones, and then if they're not blending, you do a couple of dots that blends them, and you keep on going darker and darker. Now, if you look at this little guy's hair, he was trying to get some dark color here, but you'll notice that he definitely uses concentration as a technique because the dots are looser here, but there where the hair is going behind away from the sun, it gets closer together, right? So concentration is a technique, but what you use far more is a change in colors from light to darker colors or from warmer to cooler colors. That's what gives pointillism the effect. So let me show you what it's going to look like. I have okay, here's some girls, all right? When you actually look at their skin, and I'll come in a little bit bigger here, the whole skin is done with the lightest color of, it's like a pale, pale yellow. And then added to that, where it starts turning backwards and our face starts going backwards, you go into a soft gold. Then the artist has a kind of light brown. And of course, this is paint, so it's watery. This is watercolor. So he can get different tonalities there too, which you can't get in a marker. But he's going to light brown. Then he's going across the neck here to a little bit darker. And then he uses his darker color for a hit. You can't change the dot per se, and these look very slashy, but you can change the lightness and darkness of the color. So what you're going to do in the lemons, I showed you here, there's the lemons, and then I'm going to show you what I started here. I'll stop the share. Okay. And I did a partial lemon project, just partial, so part undone and part undone, sorry, part done, so it'll show you the stages. But the first thing you're going to need is to pick your colors. So I went through whatever from kids, whatever different markers I had, and I said I wanted to do one lemon and one leaf. You can decide to do one lemon. You can decide to do just a leaf. It doesn't matter what you do today. Okay? For the leaves, when I looked at the picture, there was yellowy greens, so this wasn't a great color. And you don't have to get a color to match exactly. Marker, it's very hard to get an exact. So I did this for my lightest color. I found a medium green, and I found a dark green. And I'm going to show you how they work. And then, oh my gosh, I didn't have any yellows, and it was too late to go to the store. I used a neon highlighter for my lemon, and then I did find a gold, and I did find a brown or gold. So the first thing I want you to do is, whatever part you're doing, pick 3, maybe 4 colors that are going to give you a range. Now, here's my range, guys. Can you see it right there? This is going to be my lightest tone. This is going to be my medium. And this is going to be my dark. So you actually you pick colors that go darker, and that's how you work in pointillism mostly. I can do loose dots of this and heavy dots of this, and I'll get more shading like you just did. But you have to start there. So if you pin me, I'm going to show, as you're picking colors, I'm going to show you what I did. Am I really big? So you've got me on speaker view, really big. Can you see me? No? Oh, you can. Okay, sorry. Okay, now, I know here, if I can see, I just have to go to gallery view to see where I am, so I know where I'm holding up. Okay, now I'm held up, okay? And yeah, so you can see me. So what I did, that neon yellow was very bright. I tried to leave the highlights in the picture, but in the end, the neon kind of got rid of them. There were a couple of highlights up there. So my lights didn't really work. So I covered everything with neon yellow. Then that second color here, where, can you see that goldy color? I know it was hard to see the shading, and the shading kind of looked gray-green, but I didn't have those colors. So I used the gold all the way around the lemon where it was going to shade, because the light's hitting here. So it's going to shade as it goes that way, that way. So I did that, and then I just kept on using the next color to keep on getting darker. So I got darker still, and I got kind of depth, but when I put it away, it wasn't enough, so guess what I did? A cool color's always going to be a darker hit. So I went to the color I used in the leaf, and I used it on the bottom, and for the cast shadows, I threw in the whole gamut. I did yellow, then I did gold, then I did, as I was trying to get darker, I did more brown, and then I really needed the green to make it dark here. Now for the leaves, I covered the whole thing. This is undone, this is done, this is undone. So here I covered the whole thing with a light yellow-green, and then I started putting in the darker green where I saw it. I tried to get a couple of lines softly in pointillism to show the vein lines, and I put a central vein line in yellow and just darkened it on either side. So this hasn't been done yet. I'm showing you the undone version. So this, at least, I started putting some yellow green. This is where it just has the lightest dots of yellow green, and I'm going to have to build that one up. Okay, when I did the cast shadow, oh, I did everything again. I did greens, I did browns, whatever I had. You can't go wrong with this, guys. It's what your expectation should not be, that I have to get the color exactly, because that's very hard. I mean, unless you had hundreds of markers, it would be hard. So really, the shadow on the picture was, I don't know, what do you think, greeny gray? And I didn't have like a greeny or something. You could use a soft green. I suppose if you found a soft green, that would work for shadow too. But I knew I had these three, so that was my go-to. And these three actually worked pretty well. So what I want you to do, draw whatever part you think you can do today, and definitely if you're using fine plastic tip markers, draw a much smaller lemon because you want to be able to see something done. Okay? We do have time. And then all I want you to do is start your lightest color over the whole lemon. You don't put the yellow over. I didn't put this color over the leaves because it's a different, just over the whole lemon. And then you start shading it by using different colors. So I'm gonna, here, I'll put it here and I'll come in and you can ask me whatever questions you have, whether your pens are okay, whether the size is okay for, I think definitely. Yeah.
Do we just use 3 colors or can we use as many as we want?
As many as you want. I said 3 or however many you want. If I wanted to get this really dark, Fran, looking at colors that I have, I'm not going to use black. That's a no-no. It's just going to take all the colors, the other color out. Like black washes out other colors. I would use a purple. I can actually take a purple right now and put it on here, and you can see if it gives more depth. It was very hard. I thought it was a good picture, but the more I looked at it, I had trouble seeing where it really starts turning down. So I kind of did more shading at the bottom, less on the sides. So the only part that is finished on the leaves, guys, would be this piece right here, this side of it. That's how I think I'm going to leave it. And it's got yellow green all the way underneath. Then it's got a medium tone green that looks like this. And then it's got that dark green. Okay, yeah. And let's see. And you're okay with colors? Gotcha.
Shirley or somebody else?
No, it was me.
So we're covering the whole lemon with the green chart.
The lightest yellow.
Okay, and then go into the green.
Well, the green's for the leaves. No, then you do the rest of the lemon. Then you go.
Right. Okay.
Now, I don't know if these are, like I said, they don't have to be this color. It could be, I could do this, and are these two a little darker? No, these two are kind of, one's not darker than the other. I could do this, and this if I wanted to. It's any combination that's going to get you shading.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that would work for the lemon too. And does anyone have to see that picture again? No?
Yes, please.
Okay, Christina, the picture of the lemon. The lemon's here. Can you see it?
I have this one.
Yeah, oh my gosh, Paula, when did you do that? Just a sec, I'll stop the screen share for a second. Paula, how did that happen so fast? Hello? What are you, like the instantaneous? You can do this at weddings. Let's see it again. Beautiful. Okay. Now, the only thing that's happening is I'm getting a stripe of the brown. You must be using the side of your pen, eh? Because you're getting an impressionist stroke. Okay. So blend that. Do you have a color in between the brown and the yellow? Is there anything you could find that would be in between?
How about this one?
That's lighter than the yellow. So let's see.
Well, this is pink though.
Yeah, you know what then? Here, don't worry about it. Then what you can do, kid, oh, that would work. That's an ochre. That's a mustard color, and it's a base. The other thing you could do is just take your stripe, you know, your dark stripe, and with the stroke, deconcentrate it so it blends into the lighter tone more, and that way you will be creating a third tone. Remember I said there's two things you can do. You can change color, or you can do the process you just did before, which is looser dots to stronger dots. So you've gotten very strong. You've got a strip there. You just have to blend it out, and that will create an intermediary tone. And it'll look round, but that's really nice. Yeah, what Paula did is she's doing a tapping technique. And if you tap very fast, pointillism is it turns into almost an impressionist stroke. Your pen just goes like this. Da, da, da. You don't even have to look most of the time, right? But you're getting more of the slash stroke that we'd associate with an impressionist painting. Seurat was very precise with his dots. That was important to him. He almost had a scientific approach to art. And everything was based on how many dots, how many colors, how they're blending together. It's okay, Christina. So what we're going to do is try to cover everything. If you can get your highlights to show up on your paper, it was just my color beside the highlight. You couldn't see it. So there are a couple of highlights right here. I mean, they're definitely there. If you look at the lemons, there's some highlights. Let me move this around. There's definitely on this piece, there's some highlights there, and some there. And then there's a very strong highlight there. Look at how strong that is. It's like the light's coming right down and boom. So if you can leave that bare as paper and it works with your pen, my pen was just too mushy. So when I put it down, I lost that whole white highlight. But here's where the shading's going to happen. A big area beside this leaf you can see, and then it lightens a bit, and then here's the dark rimming all the way down here. Like all this is going to get darker, 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 darkest till it hits in the cast shadow. With your leaf, I found one highlight on that leaf I did. I found it just like I left this area more yellow-green, but basically it was flat. So I couldn't see much shading. The only thing I saw is those little dark impressions for the veins. On the other one, which I haven't done yet, it's very obvious. There's a light side of the leaf and there's a dark side of the leaf. So that one was a piece of cake. Now I'm just going to check that everybody's okay now.
What was used in those days when they didn't have felt pens?
Oh, what did they use? He worked in oil paint. He worked in oil paint. No, he didn't even work in ink. His drawings were done in charcoal, and they're quite exquisite. Like they're charcoal big dots. Yeah, and they just kind of mushed together so his figures look like they're coming out of a veil. But the painting was like this. There's only, I think, total. There's La Chahut, there's the Circus, the Grand Chat. There's a model in 3 stages where the model's sitting, gets undressed, then standing, then gets dressed again. There's like 5, I think, total paintings. And they took him the better part of his life.
I could see it when you do it dot by dot very carefully. It would take a long time. Now
Totally.
you're rushing through it all.
And Maria, you've
Very
got you've got the advantage of a marker doesn't give. But when you've got a brush that has, it's bendable, you have to really place it so it stays a dot. Yeah.
Absolutely.
The effect, those paintings are, I think, in the history of art, the brightest paintings that it explodes because there's so much color change beside one another. So you're going to find with this is very bright too. Like I'm looking at this and a part of it is, but it's very, very bright. Here's where I could not get the highlight because as soon as I put that yellow in, it blurred in, but I saw a lot of highlight here. This whole area looks like it should be even more shade now that I look at the picture. But of course, no one sees the picture. That's the good thing about art. Tracy, let's
That's for us
see.
to get an idea today.
Oh, okay, that is beautiful. I'm wondering if you need, no, you don't. I was going to say, okay, Tracy, look at me, okay? Look for a sec. Basically, okay, imagine this was 11, use your imagination. Okay, the light's hitting here, but as it rounds up, it's got to change to a little bit more concentrated. Like that is, it's going to darken. It's only here that's going to stay the lightest. Okay. So you're favoring your light area too much, round it back, keep it light in the center, and that's gorgeous.
Okay, thank you.
What kind of markers are those? That's
Those
working
are
really.
actually just a Crayola.
Hello. Me too. No, they're great. Absolutely great. This technique, guys, is you don't see this a lot in marker. It's really, oh, wow. Patricia, hello. Those colors really work well. Now, when you do the cast shadow, Patricia, you've got to, because you're using all warm colors, the only way to get it to really hit back is, oh, I don't know, you could use blues, greens. I use green because I had it in my hand, but anything to really hit back that cast shadow. Fran, it looks great. I can see the highlight and I can see the shade. You're gonna have to, like I did, do you have anything that's a stage darker than the last color you put on? Like, do you have a third? I ended up this, Fran, and I thought, oh, this is a good color. And then, of course, I tested on the paper, and it's kind of like, it's not even, here, I'll show you what it looks like. It's much browner than I thought. But when I put it in dots, like it all blends together in color. If you looked at those girls I showed you, it's not skin color he used. It's all a mixture. So, but it looks okay as long as you get the shading. So keep on thinking, where's the light hitting? And everything that rounds back, get darker, 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 darkest. The only, really, with pointillism, the only thing I find in classes when I'm doing like this project I did with the, I think this one here, that I showed you here. Okay, the architectural illustration. Well, that was for portfolio. The only problem is sometimes people stop because it's tedious. They stop too soon. I'm not saying she did. I'm saying she really worked up. If you look at the amount of dots she did in just the top there. Can I get this? Oh, here I just have to move this share thing in another place here. But if you look at it close up in the dark areas, and you look, okay, this is there, right there. You can't get rounding like that with any other pen technique. It's just hatching is too abrupt. It doesn't give you smooth blending. Cross hatching is worse. Scribble is a little messier, but guys, do you see these little white lines here going down like the ribbing? Do you notice that there's always a shadow around ribbing? There's going to be a shadow around your vein. You know why? It's popping up. So it's going to leave a little cast shadow, and you can use a line for that. You don't have to use dots, but you can notice these ribs wouldn't stand up without that little cast shadow. So do that. I don't know if you can see it here. I used a line just starting, but it's making it pop a little bit more than the yellow on its own does. So,
Kathy,
yeah.
can we do this this on a canvas? Like
Okay.
a paint
Yeah.
canvas?
I do it in my classes. Okay, it's not on canvas, I should say. I do it on heavy paper with, they use Conte stick or charcoal stick. So that works really well. On a canvas, it would work great. There are brushes that you can get, Maria, that are really, like, what you want is a short, stiff brush. If you get a long brush tip, right, it will bend too much. It'll drive you nuts. So you want to get a pointed tip brush, but very, very close to the silver ferrule. And that will make your dots perfectly. I'm wondering if you can, now I'm starting to think, why couldn't you take a canvas, take a thicker marker, like maybe a chisel? Like, where's a chisel marker? Here's, okay, why couldn't you take a chisel? Now, this is getting pretty thick, but it's hard. It keeps its point. You could definitely do this on canvas.
Because I have canvases where I have made outlines. You know, I have outlines, and I was wondering this. I just thought about it. Can I use this technique?
Absolutely.
Instead of using acrylic or oil.
Absolutely, and this is going to be much faster because this chisel point does not move. It's hard, like it stays in that shape. So that would work really well for you.
Fun to try.
Yeah, there's a lot of illustration markers, guys. I know Dessert sells, there's all different types of markers. Obviously, there's black pen markers that are erasable. This is, Dessert sells this, is a flexible watercolor marker. So what it means is they put a lot of water into the ink and it makes really nice dabs. Like if I go like this, I can do a pointillism really, wouldn't be a pointillism. I could do an impressionism really fast and it works great. So there's all kinds of things out there you can try. These technical pens were, wow, Fran, it's really coming out. Now squint, the top shading has to blend into the yellow more. So you have to loosen it up a bit.
Okay.
Okay, look, can you see what I mean?
Yep.
Okay, got it. That's the only thing. You have to put a couple of, like, not in a line, loosely placed dots to blend it out. Yeah. And let's see, Anne. Beautiful. Now, Anne, put more, you're getting almost a single color in the lemon. So now what I want you to do is bring in, look here. I want you, you've got your lemons, great. Put in a whole rim. Look at me, starting here. A whole rim of the second color, and then go back, keep on going back darker towards the edge. The second color was the gold. So do you see where the yellow?
I don't have a gold. So
Okay, good thought. Show me what you have.
Well, I used this one, but I haven't this one, so maybe I'll use that.
They're too close. They're probably too close. That's lemon yellow and cadmium.
Yeah.
So what I'd say is,
Can I use an orange?
yep, absolutely, or a
Okay.
brownie, anything.
Okay. So this is more peach. I should use the orange, right?
Well, no, the peach will be softer, so it will be a
Okay.
little darker than the yellow. I think you'll like it even better.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, you're brave. No, I don't think color's an issue. I think shading's an issue. In order for it to look like a lemon, I mean, you're saying the base is yellow. So you kind of got it. Now, you just have to shade it so it doesn't look like that pancake look that we get when we don't change tones. And I'm just seeing if anybody else needs to show me anything. I'm going back and forth on the screens. I think I am. There's only 2 screens. Oh, Jan, let's see. Lovely, Jan. Lovely, lovely. You know what I might do? I know you're trying to highlight the leaf where it overlaps. I'm thinking take the brown shadow and put it right, I'm just wondering if it should be, it doesn't highlight the picture, so I think, no, don't even listen to me, Jan. I was gonna say, I didn't know if the highlight between the leaf and the shading would work. That little bit of shading between the 2 leaves has to be blended out. Right in that spot, yeah, it's looking like a dark triangle. It just means, again, you just have to take some well-placed loose brown dots so that the eye sees it blend out. Other than that, it's great. Guys, if you're starting on leaves, you could use blue, you could use violet for leaves. Like once you've got the green tone, anything darker. I actually just tried last night. If you can see me, where am I? I tried blue. No, I don't know. Here, where am I? I'm not here. Oh, I'm in the other screen. You do?
Yes.
Okay, it's gonna look weird, but I tried last night. You see why it's a little dark there? I was experimenting. That's blue, and I even put some violet in it. And then I was trying to see, before I do the rest of this, I was trying to see if I like the blue. I'm not sure. I think I'd like even more. I need more shadow here, so I think I might put some blue and green, more of that in the cast shadow. The cast shadow is going to get increasingly darker as it moves underneath an object, and it is a much darker shadow than a rounding shadow. So it just means if you look at my face, okay, there's rounding shadows that go under my cheeks, but the cast shadow where my chin's blocking the light, that's going to be darker. Cast shadows are, you also see a cast shadow in the leaf right underneath this leaf here. It seemed really dark. It's giving a little cast shadow, and you can do that. You can actually do a line. You don't have to do dots, whatever you think. Okay, Paula, have you done 10 yet? We're renaming you. Oh my God, I was only kidding, Paula. What is Speedy Gonzalez? Oh my gosh, that's great. So with him, just shade the cheekbones a little bit more here, a lot under the chin, and shade the hair. And that's great. Meta, that's beautiful. Really, really nice. Oh, Paula, for that, just keep on rimming the brown. The brown's still not blending into the yellow. Maybe it is close up, but it's not here. So Meta, let's see again. Sorry, I think it's great. It's great. Now, when you do, as those veins on the leaf go towards the center, they meet that little stick up vein, right? So darken, see how the lines are a little bit more obvious in the picture out here? And then as they go in, they're growing into dark. Now don't look at this, that's not done. So just look, sorry, if I can do it. Just look at there. So it gets darker as it goes in. But you're doing fantastically. You've got, the colors really work. Patricia, it's blended. You got it totally. The only thing I'm wondering, okay, what colors are your cast shadows, Patricia? I can't tell from here. Is it gray?
I use brown, purple, and blue.
Oh, so then you have, and you've got brown in your lemon. What I say is always when I'm doing a cast shadow, I throw the whole garbage of everything else
Well, that's
into
what I did in the shadow. All the
yeah, that's good. As long as you're repeating those colors, it's really going to make sense. But there's no doubt, Patricia, look at how dark I am. Squint, you have to get darker there. Or the lemon will look like it's floating, like one of those Magritte paintings where the apple's floating over the face. Let's see, is anyone else? Nobody else is, everybody's comfortable in this window. And Jody, were you okay? You were okay with it, eh? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And Fran, it's great. It's all blending now.
It doesn't look round though.
It doesn't, it will, okay, the reason why it's hard to get it, okay, I can see one thing. At the very bottom, okay, where's your leaf? Is here. At the very bottom here, look at how gradually you have to take your color, you have to open up. Okay, what you're doing is very much what you did in the last exercise. So you're really concentrating the colors when you think it's dark. But remember, the darker color is going to make shading anyways. So what I want you to do is loosen up that dark strip and take it into a mid-tone. And it will look round, because it looks round on one side.
Will do.
And Sheila, I got you. If you're going unmute. Okay, let me just replace the pin. Let's see, Sheila. Well, something's wrong. I'm looking at your ceiling. Oh, okay. So you had a really dark color, Sheila. So what I want you to do, put in much more of the gold over the, except the highlight. Because the gold, you've gone into a dark that's really dark. It looks great on the stem. And it's going to work for the leaves, but it's really, like it really goes into a fast dark. So what you need on the lemon is much more yellow built up. Keep on building up the yellow. And okay, look for a second, Sheila. Okay. So I can explain it this way. When you have a round object, okay, forget about the leaf. The light striking, well, it's coming down here, so it's striking about there on the lemon. So it's shade that way, shade this way. It shades a lot here because lights all usually come from above. So there's even more shading here. And then the highlight's there. So you just have to keep on blending your highlight. But the reason you have a very dark color, but you don't have, this part's quite empty with white. So if you do more yellow, it'll get more, it'll blend and you'll have it.
Yeah, and I got this, Kathy, I have this cool highlighter. It's a gel highlighter. So it's so cool. That's what I'm using for it's actually orange.
Yeah.
Just tapping on it, yeah.
And it works?
Yeah, Sharpie gel.
Okay, so you have to go, do you have to go like this, Sheila? Like you have to be very aggressive with it?
No, just tap. Just tap.
You know what, that's interesting because somebody asked me once, they said, could we do that technique in oil pastel? And I said, you know, with oil pastels, they're not in points. We could sharpen them, but the points wore down so fast, it just became mush. But that works?
But this one works. This one does work because it's not so much a chalk. It's just
sticky.
A gel.
Oh, that's super.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
Oh, power to you. That's
Yeah.
good. Because it's turning out good. It's just you needed more yellow going to gold to your dark color. Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you.
a little
Thank
bit more. You're welcome. Is everybody else pretty okay with the cut? Oh, Monica, that's really lovely. See, there's nothing like pointillism. It's got a completely different look. It's like so delicate. I'm going to say your rim on the shadow, Monica, rather than take it, okay, you see where you went around here? If you look on mine, can you see me? Where you come around, broaden the shading here because it really, the light's coming, I know it's all over the place, but it's on top. So when it hits down, all this part is much more shaded. So I know when you do a round ball, you usually start rimming it in dark, but there's more here. So just bring in, I think I did more browns, a lot of golds. I started my gold up there, all the way down to the bottom. Then I did more browns. And I think looking at mine, it's still not popping enough here. So I'd still do more shading here. And you're fine. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Guys, these are really, I'm just watching our time, making sure. God, okay, we're very close to the end.
Right.
I want to know if anybody has any questions.
No, it's practice.
Absolutely practice, and it's therapeutic, and this is a really good thing to do right now. Pointillism, totally, you get immersed into it. It's not as fast as drawing, but drawing, because it's so immediate, you keep on dealing with more and more problems. When you're in pointillism, you're basically, you know what you do, you've got a formula for it, and you just keep on looking away and saying, is the object popping out?
Is the object popping out?
Yeah. Now, if you want to try this at home, oh, Meta, I'm glad you're loving it. If you want to try this at home, make sure you really take a focus light. Let's say you're going to do another piece of fruit, like a banana. Take a focus light and turn down all the other lights, and then take your picture. And that's where you're going to see the tones the most. This picture, especially in light objects, it's hard for us to see the tonalities. So you have to go from what you know. And all of you, anything round, where it comes out like my knuckles, see to the light? There's a really good example. I can't hold it for too long, but where it comes out to the light, you see a completely different tone and color. Do you see my knuckles look like a pale kind of yellowy pink? And then all of a sudden, as you go away from the light, you change color. Now, this is flush, but if I'm rounded, it gradually changes color. So it goes from this into a little darker, little darker, little darker. Rounded forms have to blend or they won't be round. Okay? And yeah, I think that's great. If anybody else has, I don't, oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Now with the green, I think you have to put the green, you're going to kill me, back into the lemon to hold it all together, or put more of the brown that you used in the lemon in the cast shadow.
Okay.
But guys, I'm going to tell you again one more time, and I at this point, you have to use a straight line. You really do, because dots are always going to leave a little white. So use a straight line and get that cast shadow. Beautiful cast shadow, Christina. Beautiful. Like really, really nice. And the more colors you use and the more tones, you're only getting better. You can't get worse. It'll get rounder and it'll pop. So